at 8:30, and Tom Luganville at 9:30. They'll both join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. They'll take care of you and your family. Favorites.com. Boom, get a quote in 4 minutes or less. Favorites.com. Good morning, welcome in. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Our SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. As Jake Mangum says, go local. Go with the home team. Jason is with me, newly engaged, back from New York. Did you fly out Friday morning?
I did, yeah, early Friday morning.
And your flight got moved yesterday by about 4 hours. So by the time you got to Memphis, it was what time last night?
9 o'clock.
And then you drove home here and got here at midnight.
Yeah, I sure did.
Did you have Hungry Man grits this morning?
I went quick this morning. I was so frazzled waking up. I'm like, let's get to work. Let's go shake off the rust. Had a protein shake and took the top off and then shook it up. So chocolate protein shake everywhere. Had to change clothes. But we're here. We're rolling and we're happy. I mean, great weekend. And a lot.
Well, you're happy your team won the Golden Egg.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's always awesome. Engagement is a little bit better, but that it's like the cherry on top, you know?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Engagement trumps Golden Egg, but not by much.
Right.
Okay.
It's close.
Okay. We'll debate that later.
Yeah.
All right. I had a great weekend. We had really good games on Saturday, and I'm going to get to those, but the main deal here is Jeff Lebby, who coached at Ole Miss. You can't make this up. Jeff Lebby, who coached at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin, is now the head football coach at Mississippi State. And Zach Selman fooled me. I thought, everybody's like, Bo, doesn't Lebby make sense? And Oklahoma tie. And I went, yeah, but it makes too much sense. He's going to go with the sitting head coach. He's going to go with Summerall or Odom or any number of guys. Or heck, Traylor has gotten left out in the he's out in the wilderness going, hire me. I want to make $5 million a year. And Chadwell's going to wait it out, evidently. And maybe Gus is going to wait out. A&M should have hired Gus. But Gus is going to wait out, I guess, Sam Pittman getting fired, which you kind of feel like could happen today or next year, or like 5 games in, right? At Arkansas. But the bottom line is Zach Selman, what did he decide to do? He decided, first of all, hey, I'm going. I don't care if he's a head coach. I'm going young. I'm going offense. I'm going exciting. I'm going somebody that's coached in the Southeastern Conference. And he very much understands the rivalry, Jason. And he's recruited all over Mississippi. I mean, I've seen Lebby in Jackson. So, I didn't think when I saw him a couple of years ago that he'd be the head football coach at Mississippi State one day.
No one did.
But, right.
Yeah.
But, we were in a hotel lobby bar, and there you go. So the point is, I think Selman looked at this and said, I'm young. I want to get younger. Not that Zach Arnett wasn't young, okay? But that's not his hire, okay? And we all know that was an interim coach at, different circumstances. So he looked at it and said, youth, offense, energy, enthusiasm, excitement over zero head coaching experience and the unknown. Now, is every hire risk, even Gus, who's proven winner, right? He's been in the wars and he's been in the battles and he's beat Saban 3 times and all that. Even Malzahn, there would have been some risk, but there's different levels, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, risk-wise, this is a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, excitement-wise, it's a 10. So, hey, this is what you do. Zach Selman is the CEO of the Mississippi State Athletic Department. He's sharp, ambitious, rising star, and he decided this is where I'm going to go. It looked like, I haven't confirmed everything, but I went back and forth a little bit. The Bulldog Initiative had one of the biggest days it's ever had.
Wow.
Okay.
They were moving at thousands of dollars, and I saw just so many donations. They kept posting on Twitter.
Yeah. So people could argue, hey, would John Summerall or Barry Odom bring that kind of excitement? I don't know. Okay. I think fans get excited about their head coach, period, end of discussion. Because I've lived it. I mean, I've been on this. Ole Miss fans lost their mind when they hired Ed Ogeron. Literally lost their minds. They were so excited. State fans with Sylvester Croom, I think there was excitement. I mean, that was back when Larry didn't believe in anybody having a good time or marketing and stuff like that. The Dan Mullen thing, people went nuts. The Hugh Freeze thing, interesting with Freeze. That just kind of goes back to Ole Miss expectations. I mean, they thought they were getting John Gruden. Freeze, I can remember being in studio when he was hired. At that time, my producer was an Ole Miss alum, like Jason is. And he damn near threw everything in the studio. But he worked out. He did. I mean, I know it crashed in the end, but it was a lot of success along the way. Moorhead people were excited. Then Kiffin people were excited. Leach people were excited. And then so here we are with Jeff Lebby. I think this is all gas, no brakes hire. What do you mean by that, Bo? Well, all right. So I think this is going to be a super fast moving train that eventually will come to a fork in the road, and you're not sure which way it'll go. And it could be awesome and epic and fun and exciting, or, it may crash and burn. Who knows? But, I'll never forget what Mullen told me a couple years in. We were hanging out. We were together during the off season, and he told me how long it took him to really wrap his brain around everything that you had to do as a head coach. I give Lane Kiffin credit. He understands what he wants to do, and then he understands what everybody in his office is supposed to do. Do you see where I'm going there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So Lane understands exactly what he wants to do as head coach.
Knows how to manage.
Right. And delegate. Manage and delegate. And so he's got people around him that carry the load, which is fine. And Lane wants to recruit. He wants to be out in front. I mean, Lane's bigger than Ole Miss. You notice it's more about Lane than Ole Miss. And he wants to coach offense. He wants to have awesome quarterbacks, and he wants the alums to spend a lot of money on the offensive side of the football, and they have. He wants a defensive coordinator to run the defense, and he tapped a really good one in Pete Golding. His in-house guy, I think, is exceptional. He really is. And there's more than one. But and Lane wants to go to Boca for almost 4 months out of the year, and everything to run smoothly. And Lane believes, like a lot of people this day and age, Lane's, especially 50 and under, I can work from where I want. Once I get to a certain level, I can work from where I want. So if I need to call a quarterback recruit in, Arizona, well, I can do that just as easily from Boca Raton as I can from Oxford. And it's worked.
Yeah.
All right. So do y'all agree or disagree on the Ag Up Equipment text line? 601-885-3776. Scale of 1 to 10, excitement, Jeff Lebby, 10. Scale of 1 to 10, risk, a 10. I think it's big stones of Zach Selman to say, you know what? I'm not going to hire a sitting head coach. And really the only options were sitting head coaches who are defensive guys. And evidently Zach had decided, I'm going with offense. We're not going to be bored. They've already made the decision. They're going to do the LED lights and the new sound system and all that. Thursday night's game, Ole Miss people in the stadium were texting me, this atmosphere is incredible. And that's without LED lights and a sound system that they need and so on. Why that hadn't been put in is unacceptable, but that's not on Zach Selman. So did you see him last night? He's jumping around. Let's be honest. Leach and Cohen weren't going to be jumping around and people putting them on their shoulders.
Yeah.
It's just a different deal.
Right.
Okay?
It is.
John Cohen is beyond serious, okay? Beyond tight, beyond, OCD, extreme, this, that, and the other. Mike Leach, did I love getting to know him, covering him, spending time with him, breaking bread with him? Absolute. What a treat for me. How blessed and fortunate am I? Yes. But Leach wasn't going to get up on the table and start, dancing and going crazy.
Yeah, people loved him because he was quirky. He wasn't crazy explosive.
He's a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Right. Crazy pills. So, and now you've got two guys who are under 40 years old that are, they're a little brash. They got charisma, enthusiasm, and the Mississippi State fan base, you could tell throughout the day what they start doing, getting behind it, gravitating to it. A lot of people, me included, had said it's going to be a head coach. I had a friend of mine in Texas who kept saying, starting in October, he was like, your guy's going to hire Jeff Lebby. I said, that's too obvious. It's never the obvious guy. I've been through these. It's not going to be him. He was like, it's going to be Jeff Lebby. I said, I'm not listening to you. So, of course, he texted me on Saturday. He said, told you.
Yeah.
Told you. But it is exciting. I love that he coached at Ole Miss. I love that he got a little sideways with Lane when Lane fired his best friend at the time, the Ole Miss offensive line coach, Randy Clements. And they needed some juice as far as, they've had two 7-figure donations here lately. One from a dude who's not even 45 years old from the area. And then an old money family. And then they already had some, and they're going to have well over $5 million. They're shooting for $8 million for this cycle. So we'll see how that looks. Can Lebby generate another? I don't know. Can the Lebby excite? You got people listening right now who haven't gone on, and same with the Grove Collect. But hadn't gone to the Bulldog Initiative and done $25 a month or $50 or $500 a month, whatever you feel comfortable with. But man, the donations were coming in left and right, according to Charlie Winfield and the Bulldog Initiative. So we don't know. Look, people are like, well, how do you think he'll be? There's nothing you can look at and say he's going to be this.
No sample size.
There's not.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a head coach. It could be phenomenal, wonderful, spiritual, whatever, magnificent, spectacular. Or it could be, it was too much for him, right? Now, people are like, well, what's the main thing? The main thing's talent. It's talent. Joe Moorhead burned the program down. Leach didn't care about recruiting. But he didn't do like what Lane does. Lane puts people around that can get it done. Okay? And then Arnett was only there for a year. And he didn't have any money last year to spend. That's on Mississippi State people. He didn't have any money in the portal to spend. You got what you got. You got to and I got to get into how you went 5-7 this year. You should have gone 1-11, but I'll get into that in just a second. Seriously. Should have gone 1-11. Should have won the first game of the year.
Arizona wins big now. 9-3.
Arizona went 9-3. You beat Arizona. Is that the biggest SEC non-conference win?
It's got to be.
Who else beat a 9-win team, non-conference?
We're not counting Tulane, right?
Of course we're not.
Okay. That's what I thought. I figured you weren't counting Tulane.
Yeah. No. Nobody's counting. Who's ever counted Tulane in anything other than academically? And great restaurants and bars by the campus.
They could be back-to-back New Year's Six.
I know. G5 shouldn't go, but I know. I'm with you. G5 shouldn't be in the college football playoff, but they didn't ask me, right? So that's just taking a slot from somebody who needs to be in there. G5 needs their own. I love G5. Okay, it's there. There's some fun stuff there. They need to have their own playoff. MasterCard can sponsor it. People will bet their you-know-what on it, and they have their own thing. Anyway, back to where we are. So what do you think about the Lebby, the excitement around Lebby?
I mean, did you see how many people were on the tarmac?
Yeah.
He came out like a professional wrestler, like Ric Flair. He had smoke in the air. People already had like their cowbells ready to go. They had signs, "Go to Hell, Ole Miss," already rallying around him. I mean, for State, the State needed to hire like this. Like, are people going to get that worked up over, say, like Willie Fritz or something like that? Like, Lebby is an up-and-comer, has a big name to him already, especially in the state.
Yeah, Zach Selman was not. Willie Fritz is a hell of a football coach. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me back up. I like where you're going. But Zach Selman was not going to hire a 63-year-old. He looked at it and said, I'm going for excitement and enthusiasm and a buzz, and that's what I'm going to do. And it may not work, but if it does, and I think he thought this fan base has got to get in, although they've gotten the 2 seven-figure gifts recently, they got to get into the Bulldog Initiative and high school recruiting. And I think he thought he thinks Lebby can bring some players with him.
No doubt.
Now, Levy's been in a network of Art Briles, Lane Kiffin, Josh Heupel, Brent Venables, right? I mean, he's just been at Ole Miss and Oklahoma. So his network is bigger than some of the other guys that we were talking about, Jason, the sitting head coaches. Summerall, Odom, Fritz, even Chadwell.
Right, yeah.
Okay, now Chadwell's done it as a head coach, but Jeff Lebby's rubbed elbows with a lot of people, knows a lot of people, and people are asking the question, what's the most important thing? There's actually two. Can I do two? One is he's got to go get talent. You haven't had a coach who could go get dudes since what? Jackie Sherrill, but really Bob Tyler? You don't even remember him. That was in the 70s. I mean, he's really the only big game hunter, I don't give a damn coach you've ever had to just go get dudes. You've always made it harder than it is in recruiting. Now, Sherrill definitely turned it. And for who you are, recruited light years better than anybody else. All right? And even though, you know how guys say the same thing to each other and then just pass it around in sports? Even though people said Mullen couldn't recruit, what did he do? He moved you up 12 spots in recruiting, which, how many times does that happen?
Almost never.
Exactly, because it's something called range-bound recruiting. You don't move up or back more than 4 spots. But Dan wasn't a relentless recruiter. He was a relentless competitor and head coach, but he wasn't a relentless recruiter. So is that what you got with Jeff Lebby? Ole Miss has hired 2. I wouldn't even say Lane's a relentless recruiter, but he's figured a lot of it out, who to do, da-da-da-da. Ole Miss hired Ed Ogeron and Hugh Freeze. Relentless recruiters. Mississippi State, Mike Leach, he's not. Joe Moorhead, he's not. Dan Mullen, good, not relentless. Slackroom, obviously, no. So just kind of giving you some background there. And I'd say Tommy Tuberville was, if he wasn't a relentless recruiter, he was, no. Tommy Tuberville was a guy who went and got dudes. So Ole Miss has made more of those type hires, even though it's even Steven since the game moved to campus in 1991. Crazy, right? Ole Miss got the momentum in the Golden Egg. They've won 3 of the last 4, so Lane's feeling good. Now, he wanted that Texas A&M offer, but he's feeling good. And he's got to redo his roster, too. I mean, he talked about it. I mean, it's basically every year. You got to go out and hope that you hit on players. So what does Jeff Lebby need to do? He's got to go get players, and can he staff? What gets coaches fired? Hiring buddies. Hiring guys that just aren't good. Overwhelming majority of coaches do that. That's why the overwhelming majority of these guys, get fired. What can Lane Kiffin do? He can staff. Or that dude that he's got in-house is whatever numbers they're running are the right numbers. Lane Kiffin grew up. He had to go to rehab, Alabama and FAU.
Right. Yeah.
And, man, did he grow up and he figured out, and Lane knows how to staff. Most coaches don't. So Jeff Lebby's got to go get players and talent, Jason. And then he's got to he doesn't have to nail every hire, but he needs to nail several. And about 6 of the 10 headsets just need to be recruiters.
True. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing his first year, right? Is what he does in the transfer portal. That's got like his
question.
His success in the first year relies on that.
No question.
And then it proves to people if he can do it.
And the number one thing is a quarterback. I
Right.
mean, you've got to have a guy who can play day one, who's a playmaker, dual threat. Period. That's it. I mean, and Jeff Lebby knows that. He's been around. Dude, at Baylor, they had some QBs. Okay, with Heupel, he gets it. With Lane, he gets it. And they had a really good year this year at Oklahoma. With Venables, but Venables let Lebby run the offense. Right.
Right.
So he's got to go get QB1. There's plenty out there. He's got to figure out, one, who he wants and who he can get, right? Or who he can get, and out of that, who does he want? I think is a better way to put it. I am fascinated by this hire because there's so much excitement around it, and there's so much risk. It's crazy.
It's going to be great either way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be great for our business.
Yes, for us.
It's amazing. Yeah. And Steve Robertson's going to join us at 8:30 and unpack this whole thing. I thought they would go head coach. Zach Selman said, heck no. I'm going excitement and enthusiasm and marketing and branding and get our people excited and have all these crazy people show up at an airport on a damn Sunday night for Jeff Lebby. And then the Ole Miss tie is delicious for us, Jason.
Oh, so good.
The fact that he has worked for Lane Kiffin, that he was kind of the boy wonder under Lane, that Ole Miss fans fell in love with him. I mean, that's all we heard about Lebby. Crazy. And he's the one, he and Matt Corral were tight as ticks and blah, blah, blah. And then Lane Kiffin fires his best friend, Randy Clements, the offensive line coach at the time at Ole Miss, who's now at North Carolina. And that thing soured. And then 6 months later? Because he got fired at a weird time of year, right?
Yeah,
it was in April.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it was after spring ball.
What do you got to do to get fired in
Well,
April?
evidently they got into it. Lane admitted later he made a mistake, but whatever. Lane's the head coach, and like all head coaches, he's got an ego bigger than Texas, and it happened. And then 6 months later, as soon as Lebby had an opportunity to leave, he went to Oklahoma. So that's juicier, right? I mean, that puts more and more and more fire on the rivalry as we all live it every single day. But talent, QB1, staffing. Talent, QB1, staffing. Say it over and over again. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're driven by your next Ford F-150 at Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. The Ag Up Equipment text line, 601-885-3776. Good morning. Welcome in on a Monday.